In this example, we are going to graph two polar equations. First case, we're going to graph r equals 4, and in the second case, we're going to graph theta equals pi over 6. The way that these equations work, which we're going to think about them in the same way that we think about Cartesian equations that look like this. If you think about a Cartesian equation like y equals 4, what y equals 4 would look like is on a Cartesian plane, you would have a horizontal line at a height of 4, as y equals 4 implies that the value of y is always 4 no matter what x is. X could be any value, but y is always 4. That is how we can think about these equations as well. When I have r equals 4, in polar, that means that the radius is always 4 regardless of the angle measure. For example, if my angle measure is 0 radians, my radius is 4. If my angle measure is pi over 6 radians, my radius is 4. If my angle measure is pi over 3 radians, my radius is 4. If my angle measure is pi over 2 radians, my radius is 4, and so on and so forth. If you connect all the points that this is going to include, not just the ones from the unit circle that we're familiar with, but everything in between, what we are going to get is a full circle of radius 4. That is what the equation of r equals 4 refers to. It is a circle centered at the pole that has a radius of 4. Theta equals pi over 6 is going to work in a very similar fashion. Theta of pi over 6 means that the radius could be anything, but the angle measure is always pi over 6. So for example, if my angle measure is pi over 6, when my radius is 1, I would have this point. If my radius is 2 with angle measure pi over 6, I have this point. If my radius is 3 with pi over 6 as my angle measure, I have this point, and then this point, and then this point, and this point, and on. Which so far looks kind of like a ray. But it's not just a ray, because the radius could be anything, including a negative radius. So my radius at pi over 6 could also be negative 1, which means rotate pi over 6 and walk backwards 1. That puts us here. Or radius of negative 2, which puts us here. Radius of negative 3 puts us here. Meaning that theta equals pi over 6 is not just a ray starting from the pole. It is a full line that goes through the angle measure of pi over 6.